Hi friends, thank you for coming back to my channel. I thought it's been quite a while since I did the last video, and when I heard about the acquisition of Supreme by VF Corp, I couldn't control my excitement. I thought this is one video we must do, and let's talk about the dynamics of this acquisition. So with that, let's get started. So let's start by going into a little bit about the brand. Supreme was established in about 1994 in Manhattan, New York. A single store operation that has grown its business in a dramatic fashion. Basically a streetwear brand with a little mix of hip-hop, Japanese fashion and punk. And that is what you have in Supreme. Supreme was known for releasing good quality collections consistently in limited quantities, and that is how they built their USP on scarcity of the product. Today, Supreme is a 12-store operation with 60% of its business coming from online sales. While it is not a listed company, so it's a little difficult to put in statistics, but from whatever I got to know, turnover of Supreme was about $500 million. So let's talk a little bit about their investment strategies. Any brand that is poised to grow requires private equity investments. And I know of a particular investment by Carlyle, who invested about $500 million into Supreme. Supreme at that time had a turnover of about $100 million, and this was in 2017 when the company valuation was at 10x, valued at about $1 billion. So Carlyle invested about $500 million, bought over 50% of the stake of the company from James Jebbia, and 3 years later you have VF Corp buying out Supreme for $2.1 billion. So Carlyle Investments is basically laughing themselves to the bank, because in less than 3 years they've managed to double their return on investment, which is amazing. But now, given this context of VF Corp acquiring Supreme, what is next for Supreme? So let's try to understand a little more about VF Corp as an organization. So VF Corp is the owner of a lot of mainstream brands like the North Face, Timberland, Napa Perry, a lot of denim brands like Seven for Mankind, Lee, Wrangler, and they've been known for consistency in terms of delivery of these products to their consumers. You wouldn't classify VF Corp as a luxury holder of brands, but more into the mid-market segment. And with that, with the entry and acquisition of Supreme, I wondered how VF Corp is actually going to treat this deal. Because VF Corp at the end of the day is a financial company that reports to its shareholders, and they will be definitely looking for a return on investment. So while they have invested $2.1 billion right now in the acquisition of Supreme, I'm sure they're looking for a return of 4-5x on their investments. And the whole premise of Supreme is built on scarcity, delivering good products consistently and having people really want it. Now with VF Corp coming into the mix, they may decide to increase the portfolio by at least 3 to 4 times, and also increase production of Supreme. If you wanted to know how sought after Supreme is, try visiting the Supreme store, and you'll probably have to wait overnight. You still probably will not get the products that you want. There are these people who go online, who try to acquire Supreme products that are released on their websites, and they buy these bots for anything from a few hundred to a couple of $1,000s, and those bots go on the website and try to hawk these products. And 5 minutes after a Supreme product is released, let's say for example a Supreme t-shirt, which cost you something like $30 if you were to buy it on the Supreme website, will go 5 minutes later on sites like eBay for anything up to $300. So you can see the want and the hunger of Supreme when you actually go onto these secondary sites. And there is a huge aftermarket where Supreme products are sold really at a very expensive premium. So Supreme basically has also focused a lot on collaborations in the past, and that is probably where VF thought this is an opportunity, it's low hanging fruit, let's use our cash reserves and buy out this brilliant brand. Because VF has brands like Timberland, which has done limited edition with Supreme. They've done a lot of North Face collaborations with jackets with Supreme, and Vans too. So three of their mainstream brands, which account for at least 65% of the turnover of VF Corp, have been known to do collaborations with Supreme. Then you've got these other brands worldwide like Nike, who's done collaborations with Supreme for their sneakers. You have Louis Vuitton, the number one, the master of luxury, who has also done various editions of Supreme, whether it came to luggage, whether it came to hoodies. And the last time I checked, when I went online looking out for a Supreme hoodie that was a collaboration with Louis Vuitton, it was selling for something like $12,000. So this is the kind of hunger you're talking about. And now with VF taking over Supreme, I'm a bit concerned that they may try to make this brand mainstream. And when you bring a brand that has been known for scarcity and try to make it mainstream, there is a risk that in 2 to 3 years you're going to run out of this trend. So I don't know what is the strategy that VF will adopt, but given historical data of the way they look at expansions, I'm thinking that they'll be looking at nothing less than a 50 store footprint. Right now Supreme has got 12 stores, 6 of them in Japan, and the balance of them spread between UK and Europe. I'm sure that they will be looking to enter markets like Dubai, markets like Doha, where luxury is really looked upon with great enthusiasm. You have a lot of sneakerheads in the Middle East who buy sneakers, the latest editions of Nike, for $100,000 plus. So I'm sure Supreme will be an excellent addition to perhaps a Dubai mall, a Mall of the Emirates, or perhaps Festival City in Qatar. So I'm looking at basically Supreme entering into the Middle East officially in another year or two, and also probably having a lot more branches than they do. This is a good thing because you want to have that sort of recall. But when I look at Supreme as a brand in itself, what would be the strategy? You know that Supreme is selling a lot into the grey market. A $30 t-shirt is retailing for $300 in the grey market. Then if I were Supreme, I'd probably look at a different strategy. I first of all want to definitely create that demand. Now what I've done is I've taken a streetwear brand and I've taken a luxury approach in terms of limiting the depth and breadth of its assortment. And that is how I've built my business model. If you look at other streetwear brands like Off-White and also Bathing Ape, they've come in with these similar concepts. Let's focus on scarcity. And that is how they've built their business model. VF, I believe, is in conflict to what essentially Supreme would want to do. And James Jebbia has definitely, signed off most of his control of the company the time that he has decided to accept the investment from VF Corp. And the danger is that Supreme may not be what it is today. Having said that, Supreme is actually an eye-opener for everyone in terms of how to manage inventory, how to create sustained consumer demand, and that is what you have, a 12-store operation, current turnover of about $500 million, and where are we going to from here? So I hope you enjoyed this video and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.